Hello everybody and welcome back to another tutorial. So this is technically a remake of a past tutorial that I had, which was how to make ears. I've been going through and remaking a lot of my older tutorials since a lot of people were saying that they were having issues hearing the mic and the volume was too low on the tutorials, while other people were saying they weren't having any issues with the volume. Since then I've gotten a new mic and worked on the mic volume a little bit, so hopefully these new videos are better, as well as I've learned some new things since I made those tutorials, so I wanted to update the videos so I can share the new information with you guys. So today we are going to be covering how to make ears in VRChat, or for VRChat avatars primarily, but in Blender. The process is very similar to making hair, just like I said in the last tutorial. It's very similar. There's just a few things that you kind of tweak a little differently to make an ear. Today I'm not too sure that we'll be completing a full set of ears, since it does take a little while, but I'll do my best to get something going for you guys, but at least be able to show you the basics so that you can make them yourself. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Alrighty, and as always, I will do my best to remember to walk you guys through all the buttons and shortcuts that I am taking on my keyboard. If I forget, I do have my screencast keys turned on down here in the bottom left-hand corner, so you can take a look at that in case I forget to mention something. So let's go ahead and get started. So just like before, we're going to want to start with a circle, which is Shift A, and a path. Move that up a little bit. Set our path with the little green curve object to our circle. I'm going to scoot that off to the side for now. So as always with your circle, just like with hair, you'll adjust this to how you want. With ears, I tend to kind of focus on looking at this like it's a sideways ear. Oh, something to mention. I had mentioned this on the updated version of how to make hair. If we convert this to a mesh right now, it's about 2,000 polys, right? It's pretty high poly for a little circle there. So something that we can do that I had learned from the last tutorial is we can actually adjust the poly count from the curve settings right now, so that you don't have to unsubdivide it later, because unsubdividing sometimes is perfectly fine. And it's what I used to rely on quite a lot, but it can cause issues and it can mess up the UV mapping. Unfortunately learned that the hard way. So what you can do is in this shape right here, again in the green like curve spot, on 3D, this resolution preview, you can change. I normally kick it down to about 3 or 4. You can go lower, and as you can see, it makes it a little bit lower poly, so that whenever you convert it to a mesh, right now it's 132 faces, so it helps so that you don't really have to worry about it after the fact. Of course, you can always go up higher, and it doesn't have to match. It is preferable that they do match. But yeah, you can go however high you want. The default is 12. Like I was saying, it just kind of helps so that you don't really have to worry about it after the fact. I'm going to go ahead and go back down to 3, and we might do 4, just depending on how we want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and whoop. I'm going to go ahead and put it back up to 4. Whoops. To kind of help it be a little bit smoother. But yeah, just kind of get your general ear shape going here. Okay, something like that, right? And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this, make it a bit smaller, bring it up here. Now we're going to start shaping out our ears here. You don't have to turn on the mirror modifier until after if you don't want to. A lot of times I end up deleting whatever it is and then editing like after I've turned it into a mesh and then reapplying the modifier, so it's really just up to your preference. we are going to go ahead and rotate this just a bit, oops, so that it's more so facing the right way. And now we can start. So let's just make some like really simple cat ears. So Alt S to shrink. I'm going to turn on proportional editing. And we're going to scale these out quite a bit. And keeping in mind, sometimes if you rotate one too much, right, it will rotate the full thing. So I'm going to kind of move these back and up a little bit. I'm going to throw on my hair. I don't have to have hair on it, obviously, to make it. I just prefer having some hair on my model so that I can kind of see what it's going to look like when it's like finalized. Just a personal preference. Something that I did learn since the last tutorial that might be kind of helpful is if you don't want it to be quite so pointy, you can take this vertex, you can drag it up, and that kind of helps like round it out a little bit. So if you're wanting to do like bear ears or maybe puppy dog ears, moving the vertex up, right, this vertex here is scaled bigger, right, with the Alt S than this one is. So since it's like that, whenever you move it up, it'll help round that out. But we have this still Alt S, so that whenever we go to merge the vertices at the very end, which if you guys have watched the last video, you'll know whenever we convert this to a mesh, it's supposed to close it, but it doesn't always close it. It also depends on what you have your resolution set to. If you have it set to a higher resolution, which means more vertices, it won't necessarily do it. So sometimes we have to select all the vertices and hit merge at center, so that this little area might be like 36 polys and it really only needs to be 1. It just kind of helps optimize things. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. So yeah, you'll just kind of, kind of play around with it, kind of get your general bearings of what you want. Make sure to come at it from the side view too, because you don't want to forget you are in a 3D space. Something like that. Just kind of cute, simple, And it's again, it's just kind of whatever you want your shapes to be. And don't forget, you can always come back down to your curve. Now, if you shrink this, it's going to affect that, so keep that in mind. But you can always come down here and, let's say we want the ears to be a bit thicker. So now they're a little bit wider on the back. And again, something else you can always do is you can always edit after the fact. That's another really big thing. I think we're going to turn... Yeah. There we go. Something like that. Okay, and then what you can do is, I would say maybe make a fresh circle, since the other one has been edited quite a lot. Come down here, change this back to a 3, and change this to a 3. Grab our path. Remember object under bevel. So now we can use this as like little hair strands. And I'm just gonna throw that to be black, just so that we can see these bits a little bit easier. Right, and then this is whenever you can go in and start adding in your fluff into your ears. And then we could do like GY, kind of bring that forward a little bit. Or you can come from the side. Whatever's easiest for you. And something that I did cover in the hair tutorial is, if you want to, something that I find really cool is I just duplicated this hair strand. It's technically all under this one. The way I did that is I have my proportional editing on, but to connect it only. So if I duplicate this, I can now move the duplicate, versus if I have that off, it's going to move the other one, right? So now I can sit here and I can adjust this one however much I want to. And then if I need to move, whoops, there is actually two there. So then now if I need to, I can move this one while still being able to edit that one. It just kind of seems like it helps editing go by a little bit faster, in my opinion. Set origin to geometry so it moves a little bit easier. Right, and that's the great thing about strands, is they can be utilized for a bunch of stuff like that, like just duplicating them and then using them for like some shorter strands. Right, and then let's say we want this one, duplicate it, and shrink it down. And now we have like a cute little like accent piece. Maybe we can fit right there. Right, and you just kind of keep going off of this until... Oops. Until you kind of build up what you want, and you just kind of keep going and build up your little ears. And let's say you could swoosh it up here. And you can just kind of keep going. So just kind of for example, I'm just going to stop here so I can move on. So let's say you have your ears all built out, and of course, you know, you can always apply the mirror modifier. So this is still a curve, so we're going to right click, convert to mesh, and turning on our X-ray mode right here. See, this is 16 vertices, so we'll just M and merge at center, M and merge at center. And then what we can do, let's say, you know, let's say we kind of wanted this to be a little bit more rounded in or something. You can always adjust after. And I think that's something that I know I for sure struggled on when I first started. Was I would feel like I needed to fight the curve to get it exactly how I wanted to as a curve when I can, you know, edit the mesh after. But let's say you do go through and, you know, you do some edits like that or something, and you're like, oh man, but now the other side I gotta, that's when I come through, just X-ray, delete that, and then come to this one, and you can just reapply your mirror modifier. right? So I'm going to undo majority because I actually kind of liked it a little bit more beforehand. Yeah. And it's still fairly low poly. So actually, I'm going to do the opposite. Mirror. There we go. So, you know, let's say you get it all done. You'll do the same thing with these pieces. You know, get them how you want. Convert to mesh. Make sure that your tips are closed. So I just real quick going to show you how to UV edit this. Wrong one. UV. Alright. So let's say, what hair color is this? 25? Okay. I'm going to open my VRChat hair textures, which are free to download on VRChat's store. Liar, this is not 25. Oh, must be a different one. Okay, hold on. I apologize. Let's see. It's okay. We're just going to change this real quick so that it matches. I forgot this was for, I believe CC's hair textures instead of VRChat's. So just change it real quick to match. So we have our ears. We're going to hit select all. We are going to... Alright, so let's say you made up your new material, you have it set to image texture, go ahead and find your image texture you want it to be. Obviously that is not correct, so select all, A, Control and R, and yeah, I want the tips to be a bit brighter. So that's kind of the basics of how you do it, but obviously don't quite match up how we want. So what I like to do is A, and then turn this off, and I can see it kind of more in like a real time, if that makes sense. And then I'm gonna adjust, and I still have on my proportional editing, by the way. So now I can just kind of scroll and adjust and kind of like shrink the UV so that it kind of fits a little bit more of where I want it. So basically what it did was it took all those vertices down there and with the proportional editing smushed them and left these ones, since I highlighted them, right. Do you see what I'm saying? So like with the proportional editing, it smushes it or it unsmushes it, stretches it, however, you know, to whatever fits best for you, so that you can adjust it so that it matches and blends in with the hair a little bit better. And then I like to turn that off so that I'm not trying to fight seeing over the highlighted section, so you can see it a little bit better on how it's actually going to turn out. And yeah, that's how you make ears. Very, very, very similar to the concept of making hair. And if you wanted like your little bits here to be alpha like this, you would just use an alpha texture, which I don't think I have any pulled up. I think Nessie has one. Yeah. Yeah, so this is from Eliza / CC. They kind of included it together. So this is her alpha map, and it's the same thing with the hair. So I UV'd it. I've assigned it to VRChat's hair texture, and then I just took the strands that I wanted. Let's make a better strand. And instead of pulling up VRChat's hair, I just mapped it according to this alpha one so that I can use it on both. So I have VRChat's hair texture, since VRChat's color is all the way down. It's one big square of color. I don't really have to worry about that too much, and then I applied the alpha map. So you could do the same thing for your ear bits. Texture them with the alpha map pulled up, and then just assign a color to it, and it'll be good to go. Yeah, that's very, very quick little way how to make ears. As far as rigging and weight painting goes, I do have a video up called, rigging and weight painting, but in that video I do use hair as an example. The process is the exact same, whether it's a hair or a tail or ears. It's the exact same as far as laying down your bones and weight painting it. So if you're not too sure how to do that, I would recommend checking out that video. And that's it. That's how you make hair or ears. Very similar to hair. Very quick little video. I hope this helps, and I will see you guys in the next tutorial.